Hey guys, it has been a really long time since we did a video, and we had someone comment the other day on our YouTube or one of our YouTube videos and asked for an update. So we thought we would hop on here and give you guys an update. Okay, sorry, some packages got delivered for our friends, so we paused the video. We're gonna give you guys an update.
Update.
I don't know how long it's been since we posted the last video, but basically I think where we left off was basically we were going to be working on our businesses and just saving up the money for the down payment for the boat and just kind of getting in a financial place where we felt comfortable.
Where we could have the boat and essentially be able to use the boat and it'd be like zero F's given on like just being able to do what we want and it literally be the lifestyle that we wanted to have.
Not being on a really, really tight budget.
Yeah. And so, but while we were doing that, I think me more than you, like was reading and watching and so on and so forth. And it seems like people are constantly working on their boats, like they're just spending so much time constantly working on their boats
Fixing things
and
that are
fixing
broken,
and stuff broken
yeah.
And like rather than getting to use their boat, they were like using their boat seemed like it was fixing their boat. That was like how it was. And then I started getting nervous because I've been there and done that.
Yeah, we had real estate property, we did flips and things like that. We've as I call it, you've tinkered and fixed things a lot, so you just wasn't really interested in getting a boat and then that being our lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we kind of have been like, yeah, we'll get the boat, but it just wasn't as priority as it had been. We're still working on our businesses and all of that, but we also just started to travel this year, and we were in Bali and in Malaysia before COVID happened, and even now we're just traveling domestically instead of internationally, and had just kind of been not as prioritizing the boat, if you will.
Not prioritizing saving for the boat.
Yeah.
We're just basically, we have been saving, but at the same time we've been using pretty much our boat budget to just travel around in the United States because of COVID. We can't go overseas. All of our overseas trips basically got canceled.
We were supposed to be in Italy for the month of August and Greece for the month of September, August and September. But both of those got canceled. We were supposed to go to the Bahamas. That got canceled. But to make a long story short, when we had met Sailing Southern Charm online, Elizabeth King and Kevin King, but Elizabeth had reached out to me from hashtags on Instagram when we started our Instagram, Abracadabra Adventures and Sailing Abracadabra, and had just said, hey, I saw you had a hashtag Leopard50. Did you guys order your boat yet? We have ours on order. And so we just kind of started chatting back and forth, and they actually got their boat right, like I think February maybe, right before COVID started. And we just kind of kept in touch. She asked what we were doing, where we were at. And it just so happened we ended up in Florida at the same time they were in Dania Beach, and they invited us to come out on their boat and see it because they have the Leopard 50L just like what we wanted. And we got to meet them and hang out on the boat, and it was just crazy because we were in Florida kind of maybe looking for a place to live, like a house to move to, and just weren't finding anything, and kind of got a little disappointed, but like we know that when it's the right thing we'll know. And we both left their boat, which we're on right now, which we'll tell you in a second, but update on that in a second. But we left the boat, like both of us left, and we looked at each other and we're like, that's it. We don't need a house anywhere. That's literally what, it just felt right.
Well, part of the reason why it felt right was because I had those concerns regarding like, I do not want to spend my whole, like the majority of my days, whether it's a week or the majority of my hours per day, or even very many hours per day, like working on a boat. I understand they're going to have to be cleaned or whatnot, exactly like a house does, and like general maintenance, wear and tear, but I just don't want to be tinkering with things. Tinkering is a great word. Not my jam. Been there, done that. And so whenever we were in Florida and literally our paths crossed and we got to go to the boat, and it's literally the exact boat, and they had bought it literally the exact way that we would, brand new, and I got a chance to basically sit down and just
Chat
kind of
with
pepper Kevin with questions in terms of like, hey, shoot me straight. How much time are you spending per week doing things? How much time is this taking? How much time is that taking? Like, are my fears founded in anything that's rational, or is this basically just something irrational that's come up?
or that people deal with older boats.
Right, or it's something that people are dealing
And-
with older boats, and where they like try to start it on a shoestring budget or something like that.
And they had friends, actually, sailing friends
Right.
that were staying with them who had bought a used boat and had fixed it up.
And so that was amazing, because then I got to not just ask Kevin, but I got to ask Neil, and I don't remember Neil's last name, but I got to ask Neil questions as well, because they had bought a 10-year-old boat, and being like, hey, once your boat's 10 years, like how much time are you spending having to do things on your boat? And a long story short, two things happened from those conversations. I basically got a sense that like, hey, some of these YouTube videos that are talking about this is broken, that's broken, and this thing, I think it's just good content for people who want to know how to fix things, and also it's a bit of drama. Whereas like, hey, I'm just sitting on a
Reality
boat.
TV drama.
Yeah, it's kind of like reality TV drama. Hey, I'm sitting on a boat just in freaking paradise, enjoying it, sitting here, being present to the moment. Probably doesn't make the best YouTube. And so I think it's partly that. And then also partly like, hey, here's how we fix this thing, or here's how we fix that thing, is why there's so much content around those particular subjects that really got me worried. And then the other thing that happened is, because it was that night when we got to see the boat and go on the boat with all of them, it was like 6, 7, 8, 9 people.
I think it was 11.
11 people. It was quite a few people all on the boat at once, and so that gave us a chance to not just experience the layout from the standpoint of if it was you and I, but it got us to be able to see it. We do like to entertain people and have friends over, and it got us to experience the size and the layout of the boat when it was being used for entertainment and having multiple people on it.
Yeah, and the feng
that
shui, it was
yeah.
unbelievable.
There should be a sailor
There's
term for
so-
feng shui.
There should be.
Feng shui.
But no, like even in the salon, it's just super open, plenty of seating. Even where we're sitting right now, there's just so much room, and even with a lot of people, it doesn't feel cramped. It just feels so open, which I love so much. And so yeah, so we left and we're like, nope, we want the boat. So
Yep.
we've still been traveling all over the U.S. and but we're also just more, we were starting to save more for the boat as well. But we're also, there's two things, and I don't think we've updated on this, is this guy over here is a tax strategist. And so we wanted to know how we could save the down payment for the boat without having to pay, 30% tax on that. So we met with our CPA, as well as him coming up with ideas, and because we don't just want to save the down payment and then have to pay a lot of it towards, to the government. So we've come up with ideas on how to do that. So that's part of the reason too, is being strategic. So our plan is to get it in 2021 and be strategic about it. That way we don't have to pay a ton of taxes. And
Yeah, just because these videos started out as like going through the process of buying a boat. So it's, I can't remember if it's section 179, but basically 179 something. If you put that in, has to do with when you're setting up an LLC and buying equipment for it and using it to write off. I think it's section 179 or something like that. That's where you could find out more about that. And then the other thing is you essentially have to take possession in the same year that you buy. So right now on these, from talking to Bob Ross over at Leopards in Dania Beach, which is not Leopard Boats, but he's a Leopard broker over there. He's basically, it's about 8 months lead time right now.
8 to 10.
8 to
he
10
said if we
months.
got it in January, it'd be 8 to 10 months.
Yeah.
But if we waited till the boat show, it could be longer if they if they
So
sold
we have
out.
to be pretty strategic in terms of if we're going to put our down payment down in January, February, then we would still be able to basically take possession in 2021 and get that tax write-off, which would be good for us from a monetary standpoint. So that's kind of basically our plan now.
Yeah.
Is we're going to do that. But what reconcreted the whole thing is we've been traveling around. We were in the Northwest, and then somehow you and Elizabeth were talking on Instagram or wherever you guys talk, and they were in Charleston, South Carolina, and were like, hey, if you guys want to come hang out on the boat with us for a few days.
Yeah, they invited us to come see what boat living was like, because they're in a marina. Due to hurricane season, they have to stay above the Georgia line until the end of October, and so they've been hanging out here, and they invited us to come, experience what boat living is like. So we've been here for about 4 days, I think.
4, 5.
4 or 5 days, and amazing. And they're going to be chartering, and it's amazing. So if you guys want to know what it's like, definitely hook up a charter. Their Instagram is at Sailing Southern Charm.
I think that's also their website,
Yep.
SailingSouthernCharm.com, and then you can click on charters on the thing, and then they'll also they got more information on that. But yeah, so they invited us to come see it, and so we've been living on the boat for 5 days and watching the dolphins and the sunsets. We went out in South Carolina. We went out away from the marina for a few days and just hung out in a
Kinda
in a
the-
channel in the marshes. And the dolphins were literally like 3
Playing.
feet away from the boat. I was slapping the water, and the dolphins were like coming up and looking at what was going on. And it's like
It's just been amazing.
everything that we kind of imagined whenever I was like, but if we had a boat, then wherever we were would be our backyard. And so you don't need a bunch of acres or something like that if you have a boat. So all of that has been perfect. And the living's been perfect. I'm tall, 6'6", if you guys haven't caught that in other videos. And like the worst thing that was happening is a door was super, super clean, and I didn't realize it, and I slammed into the glass like a Windex. Like a Windex commercial into the glass, because I tried to duck.
Well, it had
to go
been-
through.
In your defense, it had been open all day, and we had closed it to turn on the air conditioning, and he went to go out the door, and it was so clean, he just went right into it.
I wish we could say in my defense I had been drinking, but that wasn't true. It was just a boneheaded, like I tried to duck and just against the glass. So,
Yeah.
but it made everybody laugh.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll make you guys laugh when you hear that story too. But yeah, it's been literally no problem. Sleeping's been no problem. Us sleeping in the same bed, we were a little worried about that, but the bed has been more than
The
large
beds are
large
huge.
enough.
At least
Even
the
from
one- One we're sleeping in is.
yeah, way better than like queen size beds at like hotels and stuff like that. Much better than that in the
Yeah.
Ford VIP cabin that we've been in.
I was pleasantly surprised by the water pressure.
Water pressure was
There's been
literally-
hotels that we've been staying in that
we-
didn't even have that
yeah,
much
we were
water
literally
pressure.
just in a hotel in Montana or wherever we just were that had worse water pressure than the
Yeah.
boat had.
It's really, really amazing. We really
Yep.
love the Leopard 50. And we
Yep.
actually looked, even after we came back on Sailing Southern Charm in, I think that was like May or June. We actually went and looked at like even bigger boats and different boats, and none of them had the layout and the feel of this one. Like, we're just really, this is just the right fit for us, and we reconfirmed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
The only other thing, like, just drop some hints. We have been working on the boat while we're here. We've been working every morning, and I think
you mean working as in like
working,
on our
running our business. And
Yeah.
so I figured just to let people know on that, even when we were out in the marsh, because it was around other houses and stuff, we had cell service, and you designed an entire website off of your phone hotspot. It
Yep.
did great. There's literally a dolphin right there.
Aww.
Yeah. It's not staying on the water. We try to show you guys real fast.
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say, I
literally
turned
a
the
water like
camera.
25 yards to her right.
I was gonna say I'd turn the camera, but who knows
Yeah,
if
that's
it's
funny.
gonna come right back up.
Yeah, probably
but
not. Murphy's Law. Anyway, so yeah.
I would say our businesses are fully online now. I don't know if when we did the last video
Yeah,
that it was.
so 100% online, and literally you designed an entire website. I was designing a website. We did our
I did a Zoom
you did a
call.
Zoom call. I used Zoom, but not in the same way that you did. I had zero issues whatsoever
Mm-hmm.
with that part of what we were doing. And even when we were in the marina, and I think you were on the marina's Wi-Fi, we were good for the work stuff that we were doing, which was Zoom related. And I think their daughter, Kevin and Elizabeth, their daughter Caroline's having to do some schoolwork for her senior year, and she's been able to do her stuff. So yeah, that's been one of our big issues, at least in Charleston, South Carolina. Internet was perfectly fine for us to
yeah, and we'll have to
be
be
here and make some
strategic if
money.
we're gonna be in areas where we can't have internet.
Yep.
or it's going to be spotty for sure, because
Yep.
we still have to run our businesses and be available. But yeah, I mean, that's the update. Is we're
rebought in. I don't know how many videos or when we're gonna do them, but we're rebought in, and definitely as the process goes, we'll definitely try to post our thought processes and what we're
and if
thinking
you
on the
guys
process.
have any questions or want us to do any videos, I know it's been almost like a year now that we recorded kind of our backstory about how we met, like what businesses we built and kind of what got us to this point, and I don't think I ever edited it and posted it, so that's something that I could probably edit and post.
Probably could edit and post that.
But if you guys have any other like questions or want us to share anything else about our journey, let us know and we'll be glad to do that. So
Yeah, any questions directly related to the boat buying process? That was kind of the gap we were trying to fill in making these videos, is like there's a lot of people that have, after they buy it, fixing it up, or have it once they're using it, and stuff like that, but we didn't feel like there was a lot of content around like all the thinking that goes into, hey, we think we want a boat, and now here's what we're thinking, and here's the hoops we're having to jump through, and here's what we're having to do on
here's
this,
the
that, and
information
the
that
other,
we're
and like
finding.
here's the information that we're finding on actually buying the boat, the timelines, the financing, the so on and so forth, the things that we choose right out of the gate in order to put into the boat.
Well, and I think also big shout out to at Sailing Southern Charm, because they're answering a lot of our questions too, and like we're like, okay, what are the things that you're really glad you bought for the boat? What are the things you're like, I wouldn't do that again? Also just like cleaning products and, you know, other appliances and things that they feel like is really important on the boat. They've been great, and we'll pass that information on to you guys too, but of course giving them credit for helping us figure it out. But I just feel like there's not a lot of information out there about all of those things, like what
A million and one choices, but the reality is, of the million and one choices of what you could put on your boat, you're maybe gonna, you know, have 100, 200 things you're actually gonna do from the million and one choices. And so how the hell do you like narrow it down has kind of been our thing. So I think we're getting a really good feel, and that's probably some videos we could shoot. But if you guys have questions, we can answer those directly. But yeah, Kevin's been a freaking saint. I've just been asking him like tiny little details.
Well, and I think probably too, like if you're already a part of the sailing community, you can ask a lot of people, but I mean, we're brand new to sailing. We've actually, this trip, we're on Sailing Southern Charm right now, and this trip was the first time we've actually ever been on a sailboat on the ocean. Actually, on the water. Like, I mean, we've been on one in a marina. Obviously, we were on one when we went to Dania Beach and saw the Leopard 50 in person for the first time, and it was actually in Dania Beach that Sailing Southern Charm was in the marina, and we got to go on that boat. But this is the first time we've actually been sailing, technically.
Yeah, I literally drove the boat yesterday.
You did
and sailed
drive
the
it.
boat.
So it was amazing, and they've just really shown us, been really an open book. So we
Yep.
hope to pass that on to anybody else that might be newer to sailing and just learning and not have resources to figure
The
things out.
initial questions that just seem kind of, I'm not an easily overwhelmed person, especially this is my jam, is like going from zero to something, and even for me, I will say it's like, man, there's a lot of choices, and so that's the gap we were trying to fill. So if you have questions directly on that, we'll do our damnedest to try and answer those. If you guys comment them below or above or to the side or wherever this video ends up on whichever social media
It'll be
thing.
below.
I know, but
On YouTube. But anyways, thanks guys. Thanks for following along. Click subscribe if you want to know when we post the next video, and we will see you later.
bye.